Hello, welcome to the film primer. So this little video is geared towards giving you some basic ideas of understanding the aesthetics of film. It's kind of the introduction of what you would get if you were doing film studies. So this is in principle nothing to do with medicine, but it's giving you some ideas of what you should know if you're going to be talking about film. A little bit on three concepts, which is what is art form. The second one is what is the specific art form of film. And then the third one, I'm going to talk a bit about some elements of form in film. Yes, so let's get to this word called form. So when you come across a work of art, any work of art, form is described as the relationship between the different elements of the product of the art. So if you see this bit of art that I've got near me, it's a painting, and this painting has certain elements to it. Yes, so there is a frame around it. Yes, and there is certain colors that the artist has chosen, and there are shapes that the artist has made, and you can tell about that there are strokes in this particular art form, and there's a texture to the painting, and there's a certain quality to the luminosity, and the artist has chosen to paint a particular thing in a particular way of contrasting shapes and colors. So all these things I've just named are elements. Yes, and the art form is how these elements linked with each other. Yes, so that's called the form, the way these elements interact with each other in a particular art form. And each art form has got their own elements that have a particular form in the way they interact. Yes, so for instance, this is painting, but take another art form like sculpture. Yes? So sculpture is another art form because there are another set of elements that interact between them. So in sculpture you have a shape, and you have texture, and you have the volume of the sculpture, and the material is made of, and how realistic the portrayal is. Anyway, any kinds of forms you would want. Yes, only what you're seeing here is not a sculpture, it's a picture of a sculpture, but that's another element. So if we stay with art forms, so that I've told you about painting and sculpture. The same thing happens with things like music or a song. Yes, so a song is an art form, and it has certain elements that have links between them. So it has a rhythm, and it has a harmony, and it has a key in which the song is written, and there is a certain melody or melodies, and it's instrumented in a particular way, and there's certain lyrics to the song. So each art form has their own elements. Okay, so that's what we mean by form, the way in which all those elements interact with each other. Yes, same thing happens with say theater. Yes, so theater is another art form in which there are characters, and they are dressed in a particular way, and the characters are portrayed to you in a particular scenery with a particular lighting, and there is a particular story that they're telling you, and there are props like telephones on the tables, and there is a dialogue. Yes, so people talk to each other, and many more elements. Okay, so that's roughly how it works. Now, so that's what art form is. The way those elements interact in the art form is not really what an artistic experience is. An artistic experience is when you have a particular form of art, say this silly picture. Yes. So how does it work that this picture produces art? Yes, and the idea is that art is produced in the interaction between a mind or a person and the artwork. Yes, so you have that picture, and when people look at that picture cues an emotional response or an intellectual response or any kind of response that's cued by the form of the work of art. Yes, so that is the artistic response. So that's the experience of art. Yes, and of course it's not the same for everybody. In this particular picture, so a guy can see that and have a particular response, but somebody else might have read a book about the jumping rabbit. So when that other person sees that work of art, has a completely different response to it. Yes, depending on the context of in which that artistic experience happens. One of them is, have you read the book? It's also not the same for different people. So for instance, an adult might see that picture and have a response to say, oh, well, what a stupid picture, you know, but that same picture shown to a group of children who are very familiar with the cartoons of the jumping rabbit, and they have a completely different experience, which is also collective, they share with each other. Okay, so that's the interesting thing that you need to know about art form. Yes, so there are different art forms. There are paintings, there's music, there's theater, and then there's film. Yeah, so what I'm going to move on to talk about is what is specific about the art form movies or cinema. Yeah? And the key word here is the word movie. So the word movie means moving pictures. Yeah? So in film, what you have is pictures that move. Yes, and the first picture that move, the first person to ever record a moving picture and show it was a French pair of brothers called the brothers Lumière, and they filmed a train coming into a station, and they showed this in not quite theaters, in the red light district in Paris. And that was the first moving picture that people went to see. So people would go into this basement and look at the moving picture of a train coming into a station. We have that picture, and I'm showing it to you so you have an idea of what it was. So that was the first ever moving picture. So what you see of the form of this first moving picture is that you have a picture and you have movement, and that's a film form. Yes, so that's how it started, moving picture. And what you've just seen is a shot of a train coming into a station. So that's a moving picture, a shot. But soon afterwards, filmmakers realized that you don't have to have just one shot. You can have one shot after another. And then you have a collection of moving pictures, and you have another element of film, which is the sequence of shots. Yes, so a sequence of shots, it's another way in which film works. Yes, and I'm going to give you a little example of how that works. So so you have a sequence of pictures that are shown to you, and by putting pictures in a sequence, you create an artistic and emotional response, and I'm going to give you an example of it. So if you look here at this picture, I'm showing you a picture, and now I'm going to show you another one as a sequence. So that's a sequence. So and now you might be expecting something else or not, and yeah, that might not have been what you expected. So in a way, I am now cueing a response on the anticipation of what's next in the sequence. Okay, so that gives you a sense of completion. So you might be expecting a particular picture next, and now you have a sense of completion. Now you get it, you get this, and that one doesn't surprise you because you know you've completed the sequence of images. Yeah, so that's how a sequence works. And of course, once you've seen a sequence, then you can be ready for the next sequence. So now I'm showing you another sequence, which you might be expecting something, and you're curious. So what is this the same as this? And whoops, suddenly you get a surprise. Yeah, you were not expecting that because the form has changed. I've introduced formal elements that you were not expecting, like color. Yes, but there's still a sequence, so then it comes back, and now there is again a sense of completion, and then another one, and now you might be expecting something or not, you're not sure, so whoops, another surprise. But this time, even though there is a different color, it hasn't surprised you because the expectations on the form have changed. Yeah, so that's the mechanics of, or the mechanics of how a sequence can cue emotions. Yes, not just an image, but a sequence of images. So we've talked about two things. One thing is the idea of a shot, yes, and the idea of a sequence. So if I show you a letter, that's a shot. If I see you one letter after another, that's a sequence, and that happens in film too. Yes, so you get a shot, which is a picture of something, and the one you've seen was a train coming into a station. And there are elements to that picture, and one of the elements is what the French, who invented all this language to begin with, called the mise en scène, which is what you choose to show in the picture you take. So the mise en scène of the picture you've just seen was a train coming into a station. Yes? There is another element to a shot, which is how the shot is taken. So you can shoot, like the film you've just seen, a fixed camera standing on the station without moving. But the shot can do many other things, like photography. The shot can be pointing up or down, can be in focus or out of focus, and you can move the camera in different directions. So there is two elements to the shot. One is what is being shot, the mise en scene, and the other one is how you do the shot. Same happens with sequence. So sequences are a series of shots, and what shots you choose to put in a sequence is one of the elements, and then how you choose to link the elements is another of the elements of the sequence. Yes? And I'm going to show you now a 2-minute clip of one of the most famous films that show in a sequence. So that was about 30 years after the one you've seen of the station. That was 1890 something, and this is in the early 20s. One of the first filmmakers called Eisenstein, a Russian, who mastered the art of sequencing, telling a story by sequencing shots. And what you see, and what you're going to see now, is a silent film of one of the most famous sequences in history of film. This is when artists became masters at making art of sequences of shots. So this is called the Odessa Stairs in Battleship Potemkin, film from 1920s. And if you see this clip, you can see how he's telling a story just by juxtaposing one shot to the next, and this tells you a story and conveys emotion. I mean, if you watch this and you don't get emotion, you're not human. And you can see how everything is kind of linking one to the other to tell the story. Yes, so that's how the sequence works. So in the little short video today, we've seen what is art form. So the form, the link between the different elements in a particular type of art. And then we've seen some of the elements of the form of film. Yes, and the elements we've seen are the shot, the sequence, and we've introduced two more ideas, which is the mise-en-scene, which is how you choose to what you choose to put in front of the film, of the camera, and the other one is the idea of montage, which is how you connect one shot with the next one, like Einstein just did. And that's your kind of 10-minute or 12-minute film, 12-minute video on the key elements of film, to have some words to understand how films works. Thank you.